America, the empire that watches everything. America isn't just a country. It's the world's biggest listener. Satellites, fiber optic taps, drones, data centers in the desert. Nothing stays unnoticed for long. While freedom and democracy are the slogans on the front, behind the curtain stands one of the most advanced surveillance machines in human history. It all exploded into public view in 2013 when Edward Snowden, a contractor for the NSA, leaked thousands of classified documents. What he revealed sounded like science fiction. The U.S. government was collecting phone records from millions of citizens daily, reading emails, tracking search history, hacking foreign leaders' phones. Even the Chancellor of Germany wasn't safe. Programs like PRISM, XKeyscore, and Muscular allowed agencies to tap into Google, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, basically the entire digital life of the planet. But this story started long before Snowden. Right after World War II, the U.S. built the NSA in 1952. Its mission? Break codes, intercept enemy messages, and basically listen to the world. During the Cold War, the NSA and CIA installed listening stations everywhere, from the mountains of Turkey to the deserts of Australia. Under programs like ECHELON, they intercepted radio signals, satellite calls, even fax machines. If someone whispered, America tried to hear it. After September 11th, everything changed. The Patriot Act was passed. Suddenly, the government had legal permission to monitor anyone suspected of terrorism. No warrants needed. Surveillance wasn't just happening, it was justified. Entire data centers were built, like the Utah Data Center, a massive facility capable of storing yottabytes of information. That's more data than the internet itself produces in a year. And it isn't only foreign enemies. From the civil rights movement to anti-war protests, the U.S. government spied on its own citizens. Martin Luther King Jr. was wiretapped. John Lennon was monitored. Modern activists, journalists, even regular teenagers posting online, many have digital footprints stored in quiet servers somewhere in Nevada. Then you have Silicon Valley. Free apps collecting everything. What you buy, where you go, who you text, how long you stare at a photo. Companies sell that data. Governments request it. Sometimes they don't even ask. They just take it. But what makes this even darker is the question, who watches the watchers? Most of these programs are hidden behind national security. Courts that approve surveillance, like FISA courts, operate in secret. Almost every request gets approved. Very few politicians even know what's fully going on. And today, AI makes it even more powerful. Algorithms scan faces in crowds, predict behavior, track military activity in real time from space. The U.S. military's Project Maven uses AI to detect targets in drone footage. Social media surveillance helps detect protests before they happen. What happens if this power falls into the wrong hands? Or worse, stays in the hands of people nobody elected? No one really knows. America calls itself the land of the free, but freedom watched every second. Is it still freedom? Israel. Secrets beneath the desert. Israel is small on the map, but its secrets run deep. Literally, beneath the desert sands. A country surrounded by enemies since its birth in 1948, it built its survival on three pillars: intelligence, secrecy, and silence. And deep under the Negev desert lies its most controversial secret, the Dimona nuclear facility. Officially, it's a textile factory. In reality, it's where Israel built bombs. Nuclear bombs. Construction began in the late 1950s with help from France. Workers were sworn to silence. American inspectors were misled with fake control rooms built just for their visits. No photos, no reports, no official acknowledgement. Even today, Israel neither confirms nor denies having nuclear weapons. But experts estimate they have around 80 to 200 warheads, maybe more, stored in underground bunkers, ready to be launched from jets, submarines, and even long-range missiles like Jericho-2. Why the secrecy? Because if they admit it, global law changes everything. Billions in U.S. aid could be at risk. UN treaties would demand inspections. Instead, Israel sticks to a policy called nuclear ambiguity. Everyone knows, no one talks. Then comes Mossad, one of the world's most feared intelligence agencies. Their job? Protect the state by any means necessary. Kidnappings, assassinations, sabotage, all in the shadows. In 1960, Mossad agents kidnapped Adolf Eichmann, a Nazi war criminal hiding in Argentina, and smuggled him to Israel for trial. Decades later, in the 2010s, Iranian nuclear scientists mysteriously started dying. Bombs under cars, magnetic explosives, silent gunshots. No official fingerprints, but everyone knew who was behind it. Inside the country, control works differently. Israel has mandatory military service. At 18, boys and girls get drafted. They learn discipline, secrecy, and technology. The smartest go into Unit 8200, Israel's Cyber Intelligence Division. Think NSA, but younger and faster. This unit has hacked phone networks in Syria, spied on Palestinian leaders, even scanned social media to predict future uprisings. Many of its veterans later founded tech startups, Waze, Checkpoint, Mobileye, turning war skills into apps and cyber tools. But it's not just foreign enemies under surveillance. Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza live under constant monitoring. Facial recognition cameras in streets, drones overhead, databases of every person's movement, friends, family, even their phone contacts. It's security for some, suffocation for others. And yet, the biggest fear inside Israel isn't an enemy army. It's another secret. What if the world stops tolerating this? What happens if Dimona leaks? If a nuclear warhead gets stolen? Or if an insider decides to speak out like Mordecai Vanunu did in 1986? He was a technician at Dimona who leaked photos of the nuclear facility to a British newspaper. Mossad lured him to Rome, drugged him, smuggled him back to Israel in a box. He spent 18 years in prison, most of it in solitary confinement. Israel's strength comes from secrets, but secrets don't stay buried forever. China, the silent machine of control. China isn't loud about its power. It doesn't need to be. It controls quietly, through cameras, data, silence, and fear. What makes it terrifying isn't chaos. It's order. A system so big, so organized, that every move, every word, and every face can be tracked. This control starts with the Great Firewall, the world's largest internet censorship system. Built in the late 1990s and upgraded constantly, it blocks Google, YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitter, and even certain Wikipedia pages. Words like Tiananmen Square 1989, independence, or freedom get you instantly filtered. Or worse, flagged. Instead, China has its own versions: WeChat, Weibo, Baidu, platforms where every message is monitored and stored. But the real power? Surveillance on a scale no other country has attempted. Over 500 million cameras cover streets, airports, train stations, even classrooms. All connected to AI facial recognition. A camera can follow a person from one end of Beijing to another without losing track. Jaywalkers get fined instantly. Protesters get identified within minutes. This expanded into the social credit system. Sounds like a loyalty program, but it's much darker. People get scores based on behavior, paying bills on time, saying the right things online, respecting government rules. High score? You can travel, get loans, better jobs. Low score? You're banned from flying, buying train tickets, or even enrolling your kids in good schools. By 2019, over 23 million people were blocked from traveling because of low social credit. But the biggest secret lies in the far west, Xinjiang, home to the Uyghur Muslims. There, China built something chilling, a full-scale digital prison. From 2017, over 1 million people were detained in re-education camps. Inside, detainees are forced to abandon their religion, language, and identity. Outside, even free citizens are scanned: iris, DNA, voice prints. Phones are checked for Quran verses or WhatsApp. Cameras watch every street, every face. Algorithms predict who might become a threat. How did it get this far? After the chaos of the Cultural Revolution and Tiananmen protests in 1989, the Chinese Communist Party made one decision: never lose control again. Economic freedom, yes. Political freedom, never. As China became a tech giant, companies like Huawei, Hikvision, and ByteDance helped build the surveillance network. Not just for China, but exported to over 60 countries. And beyond its borders, China plays a long, strategic game. It builds ports in Sri Lanka, railways in Africa, 5G networks in Europe, loans countries money, gains influence when they can't pay it back. It tracks dissidents living abroad. In 2022, reports revealed secret Chinese police stations in cities like New York, London, and Toronto, monitoring overseas Chinese citizens and pressuring them to stay silent. What makes this system powerful isn't just technology, it's the silence. People don't speak because they're scared, and that's exactly how the machine keeps running. Control doesn't always need violence. Sometimes it just needs obedience. Russia, poison, power, and disinformation. Russia doesn't just fight wars with guns, it fights with shadows. Poison, lies, and fear. From Soviet spy networks to modern cyber warfare, Russia's darkest secrets are built on one rule: power is taken, not given. It starts with the KGB, the Soviet Union's secret police. During the Cold War, they were everywhere, tapping phones, blackmailing diplomats, sending assassins abroad. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the KGB didn't vanish. It just changed its name: FSB. Many of its agents stayed, including one man who would become the face of modern Russia. Vladimir Putin, a former KGB officer from Leningrad. Under Putin, something changed. Russia stopped pretending to be a democracy and became a system of power, tightly controlled by ex-KGB men, billionaires loyal to the Kremlin, and brutal security services. Those who obeyed got rich. Those who didn't disappeared. The most chilling signature of Russia's secrets? Poison. In 2006, Alexander Litvinenko, a former FSB officer who fled to London, suddenly fell sick. His hair fell out, his organs shut down. Doctors realized he had been poisoned with polonium-210, a rare radioactive substance that can only be produced in nuclear reactors. Investigators traced it back to Russian agents. Litvinenko died slowly, painfully, blaming Putin on his deathbed. Then came 2018, Salisbury, England. Sergei Skripal, a former Russian spy turned double agent for the British, was found unconscious on a park bench along with his daughter. They were poisoned with Novichok, a chemical nerve agent developed by Soviet scientists. CCTV cameras caught the suspects. 2 Russian intelligence officers flying in and out of the country quickly. The message was clear: betrayal never goes unpunished. Inside Russia, critics don't just get poisoned, they get silenced. Journalists like Anna Politkovskaya were shot after exposing war crimes in Chechnya. Opposition leaders like Boris Nemtsov were shot near the Kremlin. Alexei Navalny, Putin's loudest critic, was poisoned with Novichok in 2020, survived, returned to Russia, and is now in prison under brutal conditions. But Russia's power isn't just about killing. It's about controlling what people believe. Through state TV, troll farms, and fake news, Russia spreads confusion. During the 2016 U.S. elections, Russian cyber teams hacked emails, spread lies on social media, and fueled division among Americans. They did the same across Europe, supporting far-right groups, spreading conspiracy theories, and weakening trust in democracy. Beyond propaganda, Russia uses gas and oil as weapons. Countries in Europe rely on Russian energy. If they act against Moscow, pipelines close. In Ukraine, this control turned into war. First Crimea in 2014. Soldiers without flags took over the region. Then, in 2022, a full invasion. Cities destroyed, thousands dead, millions fleeing. And yet, Russian media tells its people it's a special military operation to fight Nazis. Why does Russia do this? Because its leaders believe chaos abroad means control at home. Fear keeps people quiet. Lies keep them confused. And secrecy keeps the powerful safe. Russia doesn't need to hide in the dark. It brings the dark with it. Iran, shadows of revolutions and silence. Iran is a nation built on revolutions but held together by silence. A country of ancient empires, poets, and oil, yet behind the history lies fear, secret prisons, and a government that watches its own people more than any enemy. It all changed in 1979. The Shah, a Western-backed king, ruled Iran with wealth and brutality. But people were angry at corruption, inequality, and foreign control. Protests exploded, the monarchy fell, and from the chaos rose Ayatollah Khomeini, who built the Islamic Republic, a system where religion and power became one. But revolutions eat their own children. Right after taking control, the new government executed officials, journalists, even former allies. A secret police force, the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, was created, loyal not to the people, but to the supreme leader. They controlled weapons, borders, media, and entire industries. Dissent became betrayal. Then came the Green Movement in 2009. Millions of Iranians protesting what they believed was a rigged election. People chanted, "Where is my vote?" Security forces answered with bullets, arrests, and silence. Protesters disappeared into places like Evin Prison, known for torture, solitary cells, and confessions forced under threat. But Iran's darkest secrets go deeper, underground. In the early 2000s, satellite images revealed hidden nuclear sites in Natanz and Fordow, buried under mountains. Iran said it was for energy. The world suspected bombs. Sanctions hit hard. In response, a cyber weapon called Stuxnet, likely created by the US and Israel, attacked Iran's nuclear centrifuges, breaking them from the inside, the first digital weapon to cause real-world destruction. Externally, Iran fights a silent war through proxies. Armed groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen. Instead of direct battles, Iran spreads influence like a silent hand across the Middle East. Inside its borders, control isn't just physical, it's digital. After the 2022 death of Mahsa Amini, arrested for improper hijab, protests erupted across the country. Women burned headscarves. Students chanted against the supreme leader. The government responded with internet shutdowns, facial recognition cameras, arrests of teenagers, and executions to scare others into silence. Even music, dancing, or a wrong Instagram post can get someone jailed. Yet beneath this control, Iran is full of contradictions. People secretly listen to Western music, use VPNs to bypass internet blocks, and risk everything to speak the truth. Thousands of journalists, filmmakers, and activists are monitored or banned from leaving the country. Some vanish without a trace. Why does this matter? Because Iran sits on some of the world's biggest oil and gas reserves, controls key shipping routes, and stands at the center of global tension between East and West. One mistake, one miscalculation. And it could spark a conflict no one can control. Iran's story is not just about power. It's about a people caught between history and hope, between silence and revolution. These are the darkest secrets of nations, built on fear, silence, and power. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me which country or topic to uncover next.